Keeping in line with the theme of this vlog, you may already see a little sheen of sweat. It is so hot right now. It is 95 degrees pretty much all day, every day, and in Alabama that means that the humidity is cranked up to like 100. So we're just trying to survive over here. We're just trying to cool off any way that we can. So there were a bunch of books on my TBR that were all very winter themed, and I was like, man, I don't really want to wait until the winter to read those, so I'm just gonna cool off any way that I can, and we're gonna read some winter themed romantasy. There are a couple of books on this TBR that I have been dying to get to, hearing everyone talk about, and then a couple that I really have not heard anyone mention, so I thought that why not put it on this TBR. All of these are winter themed. I think they're all like fae romantasy, and I'm just excited to get all of the cold vibes, honestly. So let's talk about the TBR for this week. The first one is going to be The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick. I have never seen anybody talk about this book. I just happened to see it at Barnes & Noble and was like, that looks good, I'll pick that up. And then the other one that I actually own is Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields. This one has been getting so much hype recently, and I am dying to pick it up. I actually wasn't going to get this one. It is the Fairly Romantasy edition because it just looked so whimsical to me, and I'm so glad that I just did not skip it because Erin from Booked and Busy has loved it. Tori has recently loved it and said that it is super dark, very morally gray main character, and I am here for that. So I'm very excited for these two. And then we also have the Frost Queen's Blade, which I don't know anything about. It's been on my radar for a little while, and I'm just excited to pick it up, as well as the Frostbound Queen, which is a arc that I got, but I got it after publication. It came out on April 30th, and for some reason I was thinking that it had not come out yet, but this one is also about the heir to the Winter Court, and she has to be ready to take her father's place as the Frostbound Queen. So very excited for all of these books, and here's to hoping that I don't melt before this vlog's over. I have not really updated you guys, and I am now 45% of the way through The North Wind. I don't know what I did with the book. I laid it down somewhere, and now I cannot seem to find it. But I'm about 45% of the way into this, and I'm enjoying it, but I'm definitely not loving it. I think that right now things just feel a little underdeveloped to me. Long ago, the Frost King came, and when he did, he laid like a bane on the land, a curse on the land, and basically it is completely covered in frost. They can't have any crops grow, they're having to hunt, and a lot of the livestock is dying off. Rin and her sister are just trying to survive, and Rin is always taking care of her. She's always been the big sister, looked out for her, and would do anything for her. Every generation, the Frost King takes a bride, and they assume that it's to sacrifice her, and the time has come again where the Frost King is going to come and find him a human bride. And Rin and her sister are now of age. Rin doesn't really have anything to worry about because she has a bad scar down her cheek, which makes her undesirable, so she's really worried about her sister. And when the Frost King comes, she kind of shows her butt in front of him and of course draws his attention to her sister, and he decides that he wants to take her as his bride. Rin's not going to let that happen. She doesn't know what she would do without her sister, and so she sneakily takes her place, and the Frost King doesn't know it until he gets her back to his home. Come to find out, she's not intended to be sacrificed. She's intended to be his bride. So that's kind of the setup. We've got an arranged marriage, enemies to lovers situation, and I just wish that there was a little bit more to them. Their relationship is just very bland. There's not a lot of banter. There's not just a ton of like interactions when they're around each other. It's just, I don't know, there's just no spunk there. There's no spice there. There's no spice of they hate each other, even though there should be. And I just wish that there was a little bit more to it, to the characters and their development. Rin kind of feels very one note. She just hates this guy, and then he feels very one note. He's very brooding. And so I'm just like, is there anything else that we can do to make this feel like it has a little bit more substance to it? I think it would help if we had his point of view, and normally that's not something that I love, but I just think that we need to be able to see inside his head a little bit and understand some of his motivations better so that he didn't seem so like aloof, which aloof is the point, but I don't know, I want I want more banter. I want there to be a little bit more spite and spunk to my bookish relationships, as you will. So anyway, it's fun. It's fine. There's not really a whole lot, like there's nothing wrong with it. It's completely fine. I'm just not like, oh my gosh, 5-star feels. So I'm hoping as I continue on and their relationship starts to develop a little bit more, we'll get some of that. But right now I'm just like, meh, it's okay. So I'm currently dying to be at the beach. If it's gonna be this hot, I at least need some waves and like some good ambiance. But since I can't be at the beach, I've decided that I'm going to cook seafood for tonight. I think I'm gonna do garlic buttered shrimp with potatoes and green beans. Just kind of keep it super simple. I don't have like steak for surf and turf or anything like that. But before I started cooking dinner, I wanted to update you guys on the Northwind because I have finished this. I think I'm gonna end up giving it like a 3.5 star. I enjoyed the second half more than the first half. I felt like the characters got a little bit more agency, a little bit more personality, and as they were interacting more with one another, I liked it better. I will say this is a friends to lovers in an enemies to lovers like clothing because it is definitely, in my opinion, once the relationship actually starts, significantly more friends to lovers than enemies to lovers, but it kind of goes enemies to friends to lovers, but I still feel like it's more friends to lovers. And I don't love that trope, but I thought that it was pretty well done here. I liked the progression of their relationship. I liked the plot that we had, and I would probably read more from this author in the future. I would say if you are already thinking about picking it up, to definitely give it a try. If you're somebody that likes a lot of banter, a lot of stabby stab in your books like I do, maybe skip this one, but overall I liked it. I do want to mention that there is a really heavy focus on alcoholism in this book. I see why it was there, but it was very, very prominent. So if that's something that bothers you, just kind of be aware of that. It was in one of our main characters. So I just wanted to quickly mention that because of how prominent it was in the story. But I'm starving, so I'm gonna go make some shrimp. So dinner is made and consumed. I ate way too much, in case you were wondering. It was very good. I haven't made shrimp like that in a really long time, and I forget how much I like it and how filling it is, but I made way too much of it, so I was like struggling to get that last little bit down, but it was just too good to go to waste, you know? But I wanted to check in because I have actually gotten about 60-70 pages into Nectar of the Wicked, and I'm liking this one, but I have questions. We're following Flea, and Flea is a changeling. She was dropped on her guardian's doorstep and traded for her guardian's daughter when she was born. Her guardian hates her because of this and just considers her the flea under her boot. She is taking care of her and gets her to her 20th birthday when she goes to trade with the wild hunt at the market. Apparently you have to be at least 20 years old in order to trade, and she's trying to get her daughter back. Unfortunately, things don't go as planned, and now Flea has to help with a lot of her guardian's debts, and in order to do this, she takes her place at the Lair of Lust, which is a pleasure house, and there she meets a fairy that is extremely interested in her. And so far, I am liking this. I have a lot of questions. There are many things that I just feel like are getting kind of glossed over and don't really make sense, and I'm like, wait, why did this woman raise her instead of like killing her off or putting her in a dungeon? Like, why did she actually use her? And then what is this wild hunt? Why do you have to be 20 years old? Why did they not take her or ask more questions about her? And then this guy, this fairy that's now taking an interest in her, why is he taking an interest in her? Why her? I just have a lot of whys. But aside from my whys, I am enjoying this. I think that the writing style is really like easy to sink into. It's definitely engaging. We get hot and heavy pretty quickly, but I think I'm okay with it. I think it makes sense in the context of the story. I like their dynamic so far. It's interesting. You see a little bit of bite with her, although I'm not sure why he's putting up with her bite considering who he is and the like portrayal that we've gotten of the fairy so far. So I'm just like, there's a few inconsistencies. Not enough to like make me dislike the book. Just making me question things, you know? But the thing about the guardian got answered, so I'm just trusting that it's going to continue to be answered. There is a thing that is happening in this book, actually two things, that I've had in several of my books recently, and they're not tropes that I normally like, yet I'm accidentally picking them up. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Well, one of them I will. One of them is Marriage of Convenience, and I have read like 3 books of that now, and I don't think I'd read a single one before like a month ago, so I don't know where all of that is coming from. And then the other one I'm not really gonna tell you, although I don't think it's a spoiler. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you. Anyway, I'm gonna read a little bit more and then I'm gonna watch some of Ghost Whisperer because I've been just rewatching that and enjoying my life. So I must admit, the binge is on. I am about 40% already into Nectar of the Wicked, and I'm still a little, like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm a little bit on the fence about it. It's definitely very hot and heavy, very fast. I feel like their relationship doesn't really have anything to it other than he wants her and he's going to use her, but I don't really understand why her right now, and it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, so I'm hoping that gets better explained. But I'm also just looking for the banter or the toxic. There's no real banter here, and I keep hearing that this is like a super toxic relationship, and I'm just like, is there something wrong with me that this doesn't seem as toxic as I was thinking it was gonna be? Probably. But I am enjoying it. It's super easy to read, obviously, because I'm 40% of the way through, and I started it today, a couple hours ago, actually. So I'm gonna continue reading it, and we're gonna see how far I can get tonight.
I got this boy on my mind that I can't live without. Oh, his eyes are killing me. And he keeps talking about everything that he likes, and I can't stop listening. I'm thinking about him all the time. I'm thinking about him all the time. I'm thinking about him all the time.
So I just finished Nectar of the Wicked, and I really liked this. Yeah, the second half of this book was so good, you guys. I was a little on the fence at the very beginning. I had a lot of questions. I was like, man, this gets hot and heavy really fast. But honestly, all of my questions were eventually answered. The hot and heavy thing ended up making a lot of sense to me in the context of the story. While there's not a whole lot of banter in this, I still feel like there was enough kind of like grit and bullying to their relationship that it still worked for me. I don't know what it says about me that that's like my fantastical preferred couple. Maybe not a real life thing, but you know, whatever. And I just, yeah, I really had a good time with this. I don't think that it was as dark as I was expecting it to be, but the ending, girl, like, I can't say what I'm thinking. I really can't because it's a spoiler, but like, girl needs to find some new family members. We'll just leave it at that. And yeah, I am going to be going completely off script because I'm going to be starting book 2. I can't wait. I need to know what happens next. So I don't know if a book's going to get sacrificed or what we're doing, but we're going to immediately pick up book 2 because I need to know how everything's going to play out. And I loved the last line of this book so much. I'm trying to decide if it's a if it's a really high 4-star or a 5-star. I haven't fully decided yet. I probably need to put it through my rating system, but like I can't say anything else. I don't know what else to say. This is actually going to count. I wasn't planning on doing any of my Every Romantasy challenge in this vlog. I was planning to just kind of fill in my Romantasy-a-thon challenge as we went, kind of show you where I was at the end. But this does fit pretty perfectly for a couple of the Every Romantasy challenges, so I am going to go ahead and use it. I'm going to pop the graphic up really quickly right here. But what I'm using it for would be considered a very mild spoiler, so if you don't want any spoilers at all, you don't want to know anything about this book other than what's on the dust jacket, maybe just look away for like 5 seconds starting right now. So this is what I'm going to be using for the Every Romantasy challenge, and we're gone. We're good. Yeah, okay. I'm going to stop talking because I gotta go download book 2. So on my way to work this morning, I was able to get a little bit into the Frostbound Queen, and I already have thoughts, so I figured I would share those with you guys right before I went into work, so we'll make this quick. But this is following Lyra, who is the daughter of the Frostbound King, and essentially they are elves that are required to use their magic to keep the frost on the land in order to keep their people alive, which is very different than most of the like winter type stuff that I read. This is not a bane on the land, it's not a curse on the land, it is how the land stays alive. So I find that to be really interesting, and I really like that. But when the queen has a stillborn, the queen goes into mourning, the king goes into mourning with her, and they essentially go into like this deep sleep that they don't come out of. Lyra is not old enough to keep the frost, and so it falls to the king's best friend Ronan to be her guardian as well as keep the frost, because he's also extremely powerful until Lyra comes of age and is able to do it. This is where I'm having having some issues. I know that this book is male-male, female, or poly relationship, which I was really interested in. I wanted to read that because I don't think I've really read much of that. But I don't know that I really, like, I read the synopsis and I knew that it had, like, a guardian aspect to it, but I guess I didn't really think about how much that was going to play into the story. So one of the males in the relationship is going to be Ronan, who is her guardian. And now we only had one chapter of when she was 11 or 12. Now she's 22. So it's not that she's a young, these elves live for centuries. So even though he's 200, he's also not. And it definitely has like that vampiric type relationship, which never bothers me. But there's something about the fact that he was her guardian when she was 12 and like watched her grow up that I don't love. And this was also a problem in To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, but it wasn't even as obvious in that one as it is here. It's very obvious that she like wanted him and was attracted to him growing up. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I hope I can get past it because I really do like the writing. I find the world interesting. But yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with that. It is very, like, the author makes it very clear that he did not really raise her. He was gone all the time. And that's one of the things that she, like, wanted was his approval and his attention. But she wanted his approval and his attention. And to me, that's just not really... doesn't really make for like a good, I don't know, like romantic relationship. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can get past it. I'm going to continue listening at least on the way home and see, because like I said, I really like the world and the plot and the thought to this. And I know that we're going to have another guy come into the mix. So maybe I'll hang around until we meet him. But I don't love that. I don't love that at all.
Which can twist in unexpected ways, depending on the seeker's intentions. A lie could grow into a curse that spans generations. Words of love were especially unpredictable in this discussion, but the house were by far the most careless.
So I really don't want to because I am enjoying this book, but I think I may put down the Frostbound Queen. It's just the more that I listen to it, I'm not sure that I can get over the whole he was her guardian and watched her grow up. I think for me, if it was just kind of something that was mentioned off page, or if it was like a thing, but he wasn't really around, and even though he was her guardian, other people raised her, I think I could get past that. I think that in this case, there's a lot of like flashbacks, and she is remembering growing up with him and doing things with him when she was like 12, 13, 14 years old. And then they're kissing and he says, oh, I taught her how to do this. No, I'm sorry. I think that's where I'm going to have to bail out, which really sucks because I wanted to like this. I wanted to continue on and to be able to get past it, but I don't know. It feels too much like a true dad scenario. There are some books out there that's like this girl falls for the stepdad, but in this case, him just raising her, I don't know, it just feels weird to me. So I think I'm going to put this one down and continue on with Wrath of the Damned, and hopefully that one should go a little bit better. But I am walking Ollie. It rained today, so it's actually a whole lot cooler than it usually is. It's like 70 something instead of the normal like 90 something that it has been being lately. So we are taking full advantage of it and taking a lovely walk around the neighborhood and just enjoying being outdoors for a little bit. We're actually coming up on a like abandoned shed thing, and there have been these cats over here, and I fed them for a couple of days and gave them water for a couple of days, but can't do that for forever. And Mom was there, so I feel like since Mom was there, they're gonna be okay. And we've got like water, and I live kind of not in the middle of nowhere, but there's like a field and horses and everything across from me and a barn, so there should be rats and mice and stuff for them to be able to catch. But yeah, we're gonna see if they're down here. If they are, I'll zoom in and show them to you. But man, they were so cute. I just wanted to take one home, but they wouldn't let me get near enough to take them home with me. Good morning, friends. I wanted to have a quick chat because I managed to get like 43% of the way through Wrath of the Damned yesterday. These books read so so fast. It is absolutely insane how fast I fly through these. I don't know if it's the writing style or if they're that addictive, but I got about 45% before I even knew it yesterday. So time for a check-in. There's not going to be any spoilers for this, obviously, even though it's a sequel, just kind of general thoughts and do I feel like the second book is worth it kind of vibes. This one picks up right where the first one left off, like almost instantly where the first one left off, which I like. I like it when we can just kind of like seamlessly move into the next book and we don't feel like we're missing anything. I still think that Florian and Flea's relationship is interesting. Like, I don't know, it's not like a good relationship. They're definitely not the best for one another, but I like it. It's a little toxic, not super toxic, but a little toxic, but it works. And we are kind of going through a transition period and Flea is really struggling with some of the things that happened in the first book. And I like the way that that's being handled. I think it's being done pretty well. I think that now as I've gotten further into the story, we are slowly starting to focus more on like the bigger picture plot, the war plot, which I like and I find really interesting. I almost feel like the balance is not quite where I want it to be, where we're like mentioning this, but it almost feels like it's playing out in the background. And then their relationship is at the forefront, but it's also taking slight backseat to the plot. So it's just a little bit of a weird dynamic, but I'm still enjoying it. I think that it's definitely slower so far than book one. And I'm just kind of waiting on more things to start happening, but I am still really enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I'm excited to continue. And yeah, I don't really have anything else non-spoilery to say about that. I am going to be doing the normal Saturday thing today. It's actually raining right now, and honestly, I kind of hope it rains all day. I like the vibes of the rain. The rain just is like, it is balm to my soul. I am not a super sunny, let's go sit out by the pool kind of person. Like, I like that every once in a while, but I have missed the mildly gloomy days, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm looking forward to that kind of weather today. I don't really have any major plans, nothing big going on today, so if I get up to anything I will bring you guys with me, but as of right now I'm just looking forward to like a chill Saturday. But this is scary, like this is just got home and had a surprise package that I wanted to share with you guys. I think this is my bookish Kiss of the Iron by Claire Sager. I liked but didn't love this first book, so I'm excited to see what this looks like, but then try the sequel, Kiss of Poison, because Maria loved book one, but I think she said she thought I would like book two better, so I am definitely still planning to continue on in that series. And I don't think any idea what this looks like. Normally I know what these look like before I get them, but this time I don't remember if I ever saw it. It always comes in this little cloth book sleeve. It's not like real protective in that if you bang it around it's not gonna matter, but it's protective enough and I like the little sleeve. Oh, I do remember what this looks like. Okay. So this is the front. Very like Poison-esque. It fits the vibes of book two almost better, I think. This is what the back looks like. These are the edges and they wrap all the way around. I love this scene. Oh, that is gorgeous. Mine's just a tad bit dented on the top. Oh well. I'm not going to show you the back end papers because I feel like it's a little bit spoilery. But this is the front naked hardcover. This is the back, and then, ooh, I may be flipping this dust jacket. This is the reverse dust jacket. His expression is a little weird. I have not been loving bookish editions as much because I don't know. Their editions have just been like the cover art and everything have not been my favorite. I still feel like they're a good quality, like heavy book, but I don't know, there's just something about sometimes the designs, even this front part, that I'm just not completely in love with. And so I've actually been tempted to cancel at least my Darkly box because it's just the way that they kind of go about it too, it's just kind of strange. Well, mine is bound off center too, which I don't love. The edges are like longer down here than where the pages are and shorter on this side than where the pages are. It's not even. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about that I don't love. And considering how long it takes to get these books, this was February's book. I feel like the quality needs to be a little bit better. So I'm strongly considering canceling, but I do want to get at least a couple more, like I need to get caught up at the very least, and I'm gonna go through, I think, this current like cycle and see what the next batch is, but I'm just not, I definitely think I'm probably gonna cancel the Darkly, because as much as I like this, that should not happen where it's literally like off center where the pages are bound. You can't do anything about that. It's the binding. Anyway, I have finished Wrath of the Damned, but I'm gonna go change clothes and then I'll come back and chat with you guys about it. And I think that's probably gonna be it for this vlog. I'm not sure that I will manage to squeeze in another book before this needs to go up, but I'm okay with me going off script because I had a great time. It is quite a bit later, but I am back and wanted to give you guys my final update on Wrath of the Damned. I really meant to update you guys more than just once or twice, but I didn't have a lot to say about this second book. I enjoyed it, but I definitely found it to be a lot slower than book one. It's one of those where like they're already together in this one, and while I like that, I also sometimes the whole like lovey-dovey thing is just not, like I want to go back to the banter, I want to go back to the fighting, and they still had some of that, but there was definitely a lot more like sexual moments. I would say it's spicier than book one. It's not. It's just spicier in a different way, but there are a lot of sex scenes and stuff, and so I kept wanting to like get back to more of the meat of things and less of the sex stories, but I did enjoy the plot. I did enjoy how this ended. I liked how their relationship progressed, and I still had a lot of fun with it, so I think I'm going to give this one a 4-star. Didn't quite reach the feels of the first one, but I still had a good time with it, and I would recommend this series. If you are okay with a couple of like triggers, I would look it up. I won't say the series is as dark as I thought it was going to be going in from what I had heard, but I don't know if that's something said about me or whether the book wasn't actually as dark. But I feel like if you read a lot of epic fantasy, then this is going to just pale in comparison to some of the darkness that goes on in those books. Also, it has a lot of like fun micro tropes. I just don't want to mention a lot of them here because I feel like that could be mildly spoilery. I think I've already told you guys what most of them are anyway. And if you like your books to be a little on the spicier side but still have a pretty good romance, I think that you would really enjoy this one. So I would recommend it. I had a great time with it. Thank you so much to Erin for encouraging me to pick this one up. And I think that's where we're going to end the vlog. I don't really think I've got time to read Frost Queen's Blade. As sad as that makes me, I will get to it soon because the cover is really pretty and I do want to try it. I just don't think I can squeeze it in. I've got a migraine today, and as much as I was planning on just spending the evening cuddled up reading, I don't think that's going to end up happening. So let me know if you've read any of these books and if you enjoyed them, and if you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me a snowflake emoji. I'll leave some more of my romantasy reading vlogs up here for you guys to check out. As always, links to my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads are down in the description box below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!